Hey, what's going on, everybody? Andrew here, back at 5 p.m. Eastern on this Thursday, August 29th, for our build review show. This is the show where I go into users' builds, see what contests they're playing, give them feedback on contest selection, look at their sim ROI, see how they're doing and their lineups are performing in their contests, and help them to be some of the top highest sim ROIers in the lobby. So very, very fun show here. Anybody can sign up and by dropping their DK username in the office hours channel in Discord, and I can always pull you up on a show. So always taking signups here, but we do have one person signed up for today. That is Chuck. And so we are going to get him pulled up here. He asked us to review yesterday. See what they are looking like here. So let's get his lineups pulled up. We're going to start in the contest tab as always here. And it looks like he's only playing one contest here, so maxing out the mini max here. My first recommendation would obviously to be mix up your contest selection. You know, this mini max is one of the lower edge, lower stakes contests. You know, you can see that by analyzing the top sim ROIs achievable of the people who are maxing it out. So usually in the mini max, it's like 5 to 10%. You know, you might go and look at like the solo shot and see ROIs closer to like 20%. And, you know, so it's good to like spread out that action, and especially into contests where the achievable sim ROIs are higher. So keep that in mind. Also mix in some single entry and 3 max to balance out your portfolio. That's something that we came across in our contest back testing project that we did, is that players who were playing a balance of single entry and 3 max and 20 max and 150 max experienced lower swings, which is always very, very good in a high variance game like DFS is. So just some notes for you there on the contest selection side. Let's jump into these lineups and see what they look like. So small change that Jordan noted yesterday, the users tab is over here next to lineups and not coupled with the player projections anymore. So what I'm going to do is hop on over to users, and it looks like C Barrett is our person here. So what I want to do is I'm going to reset these to default to make a little more sense to me. And I want to filter for people who entered 150 lineups. Want to sort by sim ROI. So looks like our man Chuck here is about -2% sim ROI. We will dive in and see what we can learn to help him increase that number. Some of the top ROIs here, like 8 to 12% is probably like the top 10% here. So definitely some room for improvement, and let's see what we can find out. All right. Average salary looks fine. Uniqueness looks pretty good. Sim average score is a little low, but not terrible, right? We see like Z Roth here with similar sim average score, grading out +8%. I think he's a little bit more the exception than the rule. So like if we look at the top 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, the top 16 people here on our screen, 2 of them have a sim average score in the 92 to 93% range, and the other 13 people or 14 people have a sim average score that is higher. So it's not to say you can't achieve a good sim ROI. I think that if we can get this sim average score a little bit higher, that also might help. But we'll dive a little bit deeper as we go into this build here. How many games are on the slate? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 game slate. You know, the more I've been doing these, the less of a fan of min salary 0 I've kind of become, just because, projection is going to be correlated to projections in general. And, I've always been an advocate of like, hey, trust the sim, right? And I've been saying like, hey, I'm willing to like lower this, which is true, at least in the past. But I would say if you're going to lower minimum salary, then you should definitely have a projection filter. If you're not going to have a projection filter, then I would have a higher minimum salary, at least the default. I've been giving some people advice of if they're coming in low sim average score, so, increasing minimum salary slightly could also possibly help here. So that's another thing. Aside from that, I saw that you had a filter for ROI greater than 0. I think that's good. Using a high min unique in 150 max contest where you only have, 1674 technically lineups available, I would definitely be adding aggregate metrics for average ROI and average projection so you can see how these are moving, right? So for instance, I'm going to put these on. Average projection is about 92.6. Average ROI is about 19%. Let's see what it was at 1. At 1 min unique, average projection is like 1 point higher. Sim average score is about 25% higher. So I'm not saying 1's the right number, but I would use those data points as I move this, right? So like 2 seems fine, barely changed. 3 seems good. 4 seems good. 5 is questionable. So like 4 and 5, you kind of need to make a decision here, right? For me, at 4 feels a little bit better because, like the sim average ROI only went down about 4% more. And we're still within like 10% from the original number. But average projection went down about a little over a point. And it's like, if I had to choose, I'd rather go with 4 personally here. I'm not even sure what the exposures look like here. So you also have to take into consideration, what do your individual exposures look like? But with your top exposed batter being 25% and your highest exposed players being pitchers with higher ownership, I think 4 is okay. If you're like, no, I really like 5, I mean, I want that to be a conscious decision, which is why it's important to have these metrics visible so you can actually use that in your evaluation process, right? So that's something to take into account here when doing that. But I would say, if I had to make some recommendations here, right, and let's finish looking. So no exposure adjustments in all, no exposure adjustments in all batters, no exposure adjustments in pitchers, team stacks, stack types. So very, very default there. Not seeing any rules or filters active. So aside from that, giving the builder the reins here, which is good, right? Trusting a lot of the tools here. So a couple of things I think you could change. One, experiment with a little bit higher min salary. Like, don't change the default. If you're going to change it, move it up instead of move it down. Add in a projection filter before the ROI filter to filter out like the bottom 10% of projected lineups. Use these aggregate metrics to show average ROI and average projection, and then use those when deciding what mini unique level is going to be best for you. So I think if you make those changes, it's going to have a huge improvement in your sim ROI. And then last thing is I would consider mixing up your contest selection a little bit. Like if I had to choose between the mini max and the solo shot, I would play the solo shot first. And then if I'm like, hey, I only want to play $75, which is what it costs to max the mini max, I would play $20 in the solo shot. And then I would put the other $55 in the mini max, which ends up being 110 entries, right? So you lose 20 entries total, but you get more entries into that higher achievable sim ROI contest, which I think is beneficial here. So those would be my recommendations. But other than that, not too far away here. And I think that some small changes will go a long way. So good stuff. All right. Taking a peek here. That was our only person who signed up. No one else has signed up yet. So reminder, everybody, no shows tomorrow and no show Saturday. Actually going to have a little bit of a break here because Labor Day is on Monday here. So chances are next show is going to be on Tuesday, and it will be NFL week. We'll have plenty to talk about. So be on the lookout for announcements in regards to content, max challenge, things like that. We're going to be communicating those things via email, Discord, etc. here. Appreciate you guys tuning in each and every day, getting better. Look forward to hearing about all your guys' big wins very, very soon. So until next week, take care. Good luck. Thanks. Bye.